Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Mundan Bhattacharya. Coming up in the next 30 minutes. US Vice President announces $1.5 billion in aid for Ukraine on day one of the two-day Ukraine Peace Summit in Switzerland. India formally starts cost negotiations with the French delegation for procurement of 26 Rafale marine aircraft for the Indian Navy. And the 18th edition of Mumbai International Film Festival for short films, documentaries and animation films gears up for its grand inauguration. World leaders began gathering at a Swiss mountain resort on Saturday for the Ukraine Peace Summit. Dozens of Ukraine's allies will take part in the talks, but Beijing is staying away after Russia was frozen out of the proceedings. Meanwhile, US Vice President Kamala Harris announced that more than $1.5 billion in aid would be given to Ukraine, in part for Ukraine's energy sector and also its humanitarian situation as a result of Russia's 27-month-long conflict with Ukraine. DD India's correspondent Dasha Chernyshova is live from Moscow with us. Dasha, Russia has already, we know, dismissed the Ukraine Peace Summit as worthless and a waste of time. But will it still be watching developments intently in Switzerland to see what comes of them in terms of support for Ukraine's terms for ending the conflict?
Absolutely, and we have heard the Kremlin saying that they do hope that the next time the gathering on the situation in Ukraine will be more productive and more constructive. That is, from Moscow's perspective, involving Russia's concerns as well as Russia's representation. But as for this peace summit in Switzerland, the Kremlin said it has nothing to convey to the participants, and also noted that this peace conference will not be actually discussing the issue of peace in Ukraine. And the proposal that came from Russian President Vladimir Putin on Friday will also not be discussed. To remind you, Russian President earlier said that Moscow is ready to ceasefire if Ukraine agrees to withdraw its troops from the entire territory of 4 regions, which Russia now claims as its own. Until now, Moscow has been saying that the peace negotiations have to take into account Russia's interests and the realities on the ground. But Russia has no control over the entire territory of the Donetsk and Lugansk People's Republic, as well as Kherson and Zaporizhia region. In the meantime, Moscow also dismisses the idea of this peace summit, saying that it is another ploy to divert attention from the real cause and effect when it comes to the conflict in Ukraine. So the main idea that we are hearing here from Russia is the fact that this peace conference is not taking into account Russian position, Russian concerns, or even the Russian representation. Russia was not invited, even though the Kremlin has made it also very clear that it is not going to attend this peace conference. Also, very importantly, Russia says that more financial aid to Ukraine that will be there to sponsor the Ukrainian military will only lead to the further escalation of this conflict, and also takes the note that the legitimacy of the current Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky has expired in May. So this peace summit is seen in Russia as an attempt also to give more legitimacy to Vladimir Zelensky as the head of the Ukrainian state.
We leave it at that. Dasha Chernyshova reporting from Moscow. The leaders of the Group of 7 issued a communique called Apulia G7 Leaders Communique after the G7 summit concluded in Italy on Friday. The leaders reiterated their support for Ukraine, stepping up support to African countries and a commitment to a free and open Indo-Pacific based on the rule of law. Leaders reiterated unwavering support for Ukraine by continuing to provide military, budget, humanitarian and reconstruction support to Ukraine and its people. They reiterated condemnation of the brutal terrorist attacks conducted by Hamas and other terrorist groups against Israel on the 7th of October 2023. The leaders committed to stepping up support to African countries in efforts to achieve sustainable development and local value creation, strengthen democratic governance, contribute to global stability and prosperity, and also protect the rule-based international order. They also reiterated commitment to a free and open Indo-Pacific based on the rule of law, which is inclusive, prosperous and secure, grounded on sovereignty, territorial integrity, peaceful resolution of disputes, fundamental freedoms and human rights. The leaders reiterated their determination to address the triple global crisis of climate change, pollution, as well as biodiversity loss. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi landed in New Delhi this morning after a productive day at the G7 summit in Italy. Earlier, Prime Minister Modi, in a social media post, said, and I quote, had a very productive day at the G7 summit in Apulia, interacted with world leaders and discussed various subjects. Together, we aim to create impactful solutions that benefit the global community and create a better world for future generations. I thank the people and the government of Italy for their warm hospitality. Prime Minister Narendra Modi addressed the outreach session on artificial intelligence, energy, Africa and the Mediterranean at the G7 summit in Apulia, Italy on Friday. Prime Minister expressed that it was a matter of great satisfaction for him to be attending the summit after his re-election in the largest democratic exercise in the history of humankind. He expressed that for technology to be successful, it had to be underpinned by a human-centric approach. In this context, he shared India's success in leveraging digital technology for public service delivery. Talking of India's AI mission premised on AI for all, Prime Minister emphasized that this technology should be aimed at fostering progress and well-being of all. He also underlined that with this broader objective, India was fostering international collaboration as a founding member of the Global Partnership for AI. Prime Minister also elaborated on India's energy transition pathway, noting that its approach was based on availability, accessibility, affordability and acceptability. He mentioned that India was working towards achieving the target of net zero by 2070. Alluding to India's mission life, he called upon the global community to join the tree plantation campaign launched by him on World Environment Day. That's called Plant for Mother. Prime Minister called for giving priority to the concerns of the global south, in particular Africa. He recalled that it was a matter of honor for India that AU or the African Union was admitted as a permanent member of the G20 under its presidency. Later, leaders from the world at the Outreach Nation session of the G7 summit posed for a family photograph. The G7 has expressed deep concern over China's industrial policy at the end of a summit in the south of Italy. Prime Minister Narendra Modi joined G7 leaders for talks on Friday. That's after they clinched a deal on issuing a $50 billion loan to Ukraine using frozen Russian assets on the opening day. From the Italian city of Bari, DD India's Giles Gibson takes a look at the key takeaways from the group's joint statement.
Heading into this G7 summit, both the US and the European Union issued new tariffs on Chinese electric vehicles, and now the G7 as a whole is warning about its concerns about China's, quotes, harmful overcapacity and the impact on their economies of cheaper imports coming from China. Now, the G7 are insisting in this joint statement that they're not trying to hold back China's economic development, but Beijing is almost certain to respond in the same way that it did to those new tariffs on Chinese EVs, accusing the members of the G7 of, quotes, protectionism. When it comes to the conflict in Gaza, we saw in this joint statement the G7 leaders saying that they are united in supporting the US proposals for a ceasefire between Hamas and Israel. Meanwhile, joining Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi in the outreach sessions on day 2 of this summit was Pope Francis, who made the trip down from the Vatican to warn about the risks of artificial intelligence. The Pope, of course, in the past has been a victim of so-called deepfake images showing him wearing a papal puffer jacket, those images fooling many social media users around the world. And finally, in this joint statement from the G7, there is a pledge on something that is a really important piece of the host Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni's domestic agenda. The G7 are now launching a coalition to pool their resources to crack down on illegal smuggling groups bringing migrants across different seas, such as the Mediterranean Sea. Giles Gibson in Bari reporting for DD India.
Cost negotiations with the French delegation for the procurement of 26 Rafale marine aircraft that will operate from its 2 aircraft carriers, as per highly placed sources in India's Ministry of Defence. Now, the approximate cost of the 26 Rafale naval jets is expected to be about 40,000 to 50,000 crore rupees. That's dependent on the negotiations between the Indian and the French sides. And this will include the cost of the aircraft besides missiles and maintenance of the aircraft. According to sources, the Indian side had invited the French side for the negotiations process and first round of talks. The French side includes Defence Ministry and industry partners, including Dassault Aviation and Thales. The focus of the summit of the Government of India is likely to be to ensure that the government-to-government contract is signed within this fiscal for timely delivery of the much-needed Rafale Marines for India's aircraft carriers, INS Vikrant and INS Vikramaditya, which currently operate MiG-29Ks for carrier-based operations. Time for us to take a breather on DD India. Coming up after that, France, Germany and Britain condemn Iran's steps to expand its nuclear program. Turkish Defense Ministry says 17 Kurdish militants neutralized in northern Iraq and Syria. And 13 die in a road accident in northern Indian state of Uttarakhand.
Voice of a rising aspirational world. Stories of challenges, struggles and accomplishment. A world battling conflict, hunger and poverty. Embracing growth, development, science and technology. A voice of progress, a voice of unity. Watch Voice of the Global South with me, Akshay Dongre, only on DD India.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India Live with me, Munmun Bhattacharya. France, Germany and Britain on Saturday condemned Iran's latest steps to further expand its nuclear program. According to the International Atomic Energy Agency, Iran has taken further steps towards sabotaging the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action signed with Iran in 2015. The IAEA said that Iran started operating dozens of additional advanced centrifuges at the Natanz enrichment site and has announced that it will install thousands more centrifuges at both its Fordo and Natanz sites. Turkish forces have killed 17 militants of the outlawed Kurdistan Workers' Party and the Syrian Kurdish YPG militia in northern Iraq and northern Syria. That's the Defense Ministry statement on Saturday in a social media post. The PKK, which has been waging an insurgency against the Turkish state since 1984, is designated a terrorist organization by Turkey and United States as well as the European Union. Turkey's cross-border attacks into northern Iraq have been a source of tension with its southeastern neighbor for years. China's Premier Li Qiang arrived in Adelaide on Saturday for the highest level Chinese visit to Australia in 7 years. Upon his arrival, Li was welcomed by Australia's Foreign Minister Penny Wong and South Australian Premier Peter Malinauskas. As China remains Australia's largest trading partner, the purpose of Lee's visit is to enhance both trade and diplomatic relations between the two countries. While in his address, Premier Lee remarked that bilateral relations have resumed in a positive direction. Taiwan's Ministry of National Defense said on Saturday that it detected 12 Chinese military aircraft and 8 naval vessels between 6 a.m. local time on Friday and the same time on Saturday. According to the statement shared by Taiwan's MND on a social media platform, out of 12 Chinese People's Liberation Army aircraft, 7 entered the southwest corner of Taiwan's air defense identification zone. Following China's action, Taiwan sent aircraft and naval ships and deployed coastal-based missile systems to monitor the PLA activity. Fears that armed groups in Sudan are committing war crimes have been mounting for months, but the situation in the Darfur region is once again triggering alarm. The paramilitary group, the Rapid Support Forces, has been accused again of ethnic cleansing in Darfur. And the latest clashes have been raging since the beginning of May, resulting in significant civilian casualties. DD India's Naba Moeddin reports from Port Sudan.
This is not the first time that the Rapid Support Forces has been accused of racially motivated crimes. The group committed a massacre against the non-Arab population of Western Darfur last year, known as the Masalit tribe. The battle for control of Darfur involves a switch of allegiance. The militia was formed under Sudan's former ruler Omar al-Bashir. Now the RSF is fighting the Sudanese army. The largest scale battle now is in North Darfur state.
El Fasher is a turning point in the conflict between the army and the paramilitary forces. It's the last stronghold for the army and will be the beginning of freeing the other Darfur states which fell for the militia. It's important for the militia as it seeks controlling the Darfur region as a negotiation card against the government.
Since war broke out in Sudan over a year ago, the RSF has seized large parts of the capital Khartoum, the central Sudan region, and 4 out of 5 states of Darfur. That's caused the world's largest displacement crisis and a very complex humanitarian catastrophe.
The International Criminal Court, the ICC, is now looking for evidence of alleged war crimes and crimes against humanity committed by the RSF in Darfur.
Those crimes include killings, abductions, and human trafficking. The paramilitary group is also accused of intentionally shelling populated areas with heavy artillery, forcing residents to flee. It has denied the accusations and accused the Sudanese military instead.
The Rapid Support Forces is targeting civilians and civilian infrastructure with artillery. Health centers, hospitals, water supply plants are all targeted, and it increases the death toll and casualties. Urgent actions are needed to help thousands there.
Earlier this month, the RSF attacked a village in central Sudan, killing over 200 civilians and injuring dozens. Despite international and regional calls for restraint, the RSF continues its offensive against civilians in many Sudanese cities, which are already overburdened with widespread displacement. Naba Moeddin, reporting from Port Sudan in Sudan for DD India.
Britain's King Charles attended the Trooping the Colour parade to honour him on his official birthday in London on Saturday. The Princess of Wales, Kate Middleton, joined the parade, making her first public appearance 5 months after surgery revealed the presence of cancer. Kate accompanied her 3 children in a carriage during the royal family parades. The Trooping the Colour parade is an annual event that marks the official birthday of the British sovereign. This event has been taking place for over 260 years. And now all the updates from the 18th edition of International Mumbai Film Festival. The 18th edition of the Mumbai International Film Festival for short films, documentary and animation films kickstarts today. A grand inauguration will take place in the evening anytime now. marking the commencement of a cinematic celebration that promises to captivate audiences and industry professionals alike. This year at the 18th MIFF, India has received over 300 films from 59 countries in 61 languages. The opening film, Billy and Molly, an otter love story, has been showcased at MIFF. Around 60 countries are participating through their films and other kinds of engagements in the film festival. Wildlife filmmaker Subhaya Nalamuthu will be bestowed with the prestigious Dr. V. Shantaram Lifetime Achievement Award. This was announced by India's Minister of State for Information and Broadcasting, Dr. L. Murugan, in an exclusive conversation with DD India correspondent Shyama Mishra on the sidelines of the Mumbai International Film Festival. Take a listen.
Minister of State for Information and Broadcasting, Dr. L. Murugan is with us, and Mumbai International Film Festival has begun from today. So it's the 18th edition and you are here. What is different this time and what all we have in stock this time?
See, this 18th Mumbai International Film Festival is a very important film festival worldwide because in the field of documentary, animation and short films. So this is the very, very important film festival. This film festival is every 2 years is happening in Mumbai. So this year our not only Mumbai we are screening, so almost 1,000 screening, 1,000 movies are entry received from the world. Almost 38 countries they are participating, 59 language movies, these short movies, documentary movies and animation movies are registered, and these are also our juries, international juries, national juries. They are also watching and they are also screening. Throughout, they are screening in Mumbai, they are screening in Chennai, they are screening in Delhi, they are screening in Kolkata, they are screening in Pune. So the various places the screening also taking place. This film festival, first time the bazaar also introduced here, film bazaar. The film people that can come and they can get more business to business, marketing facility and content exchanges. So like facilities also here available here. And this year I want to announce here with in this, every year in this film festival, V. Shantaram Lifetime Achievement Award is going to give. This year our juries are very carefully, they considered and they selected one eminent wildlife filmmaker, Mr. Subhaya Nalamuthu. He selected for this award. So this prestigious award he is getting. I congratulate Mr. Subhaya Nalamuthu to get this award. So I congratulate him also. And this film festival is enhanced for this V. Shantaram award.
And in good news for India's economy, India's forex reserves jumped $4.307 billion to a new all-time high of $656 billion for the week that ended on the 7th of June. That's what the RBI said on Friday. The previous record for the reserves, which serve as a crucial buffer against external sector disturbances, was $648.87 billion on the 10th of May. Expressed in dollar terms, foreign currency assets reflect the impact of the appreciation or depreciation of non-US currencies such as the euro, pound and yen held in the reserves. A look now at some other stories making news today. India's Home and Cooperation Minister Amit Shah will chair a high-level meeting on Sunday to review the security situation in Jammu and Kashmir. Home Minister will also discuss preparedness for the Amarnath Yatra, which is scheduled to begin on the 29th of June. At least 13 people were killed after a tempo traveller carrying around 24 passengers fell into a gorge at the Alaknanda River in Rudraprayag district of the northern Indian state of Uttarakhand on Saturday. Sikkim Chief Minister Prem Singh Tamang took stock of flood-affected areas. Sikkim CM expressed condolences on the demise of 9 people due to landslide and announced compensation to the families of the deceased. Due to road closures, a surge in food prices and commodity shortages has been reported in Sikkim. Sports news now. India will square off with Canada in its last Group A match in the ICC Men's T20 World Cup in Lauderhill City of the USA. Weather is likely to disrupt play as several parts of Florida are in the grip of torrential rain. Though India have already qualified for the Super 8 stage, they would expect the star batter Virat Kohli to get back among runs, as he has scored just 5 runs in 3 innings. Born and raised in Mumbai, Saurabh Netravalkar began playing cricket at the age of 10. But after a while, Saurabh set aside his aspirations of playing professional cricket in India and moved to the US to pursue a career as a software engineer. Now, nearly a decade later, he has become the talk of the cricket world with his remarkable performances against Pakistan and India. Watch this exclusive conversation with the man of the moment, Saurabh Netravalkar, who has helped the USA clinch a Super 8 spot.
Joining me is Saurabh Netravalkar, the guy who has made everyone sit up and take note of in this particular T20 World Cup. Saurabh, you have been absolutely scintillating against Pakistan, against India. Tell us more about your journey from Mumbai to, in USA.
Yeah, thank you so much. So to give you in a brief nutshell, grew up in Mumbai, born and brought up in Mumbai, started playing age of 10, I'd say, in the streets of Mumbai, gully cricket. Played school cricket, got into club cricket team, under 13, under 15, came through all age groups, played state cricket, ultimately made my way to the Indian under 19 team, 2010. In parallel, I was also pursuing my education.
Let's go across now to Mumbai for the inaugural ceremony at the Mumbai International Film Festival.
Brighten the future of cinema across the world. Now we kindly request you to take your seats and witness the celebration of this opening ceremony.
Ladies and gentlemen, to start off the 18th edition of the Mumbai International Film Festival, we are proud to announce the screening of our signature film. Let's unveil the enthralling spirits of this festival.
The signature film we've just witnessed truly encapsulates the essence of myth, promising a treasure of experiences throughout this event.
Over the past 2 years, the industry has been bereaved of such talented people who have touched countless hearts. It is time to honor the legacy and respect the contribution of those who have left an indelible mark on our industry. The homage film is a tribute to all of them whose art lives on, immortalizing their work.
Those were the gems, the incomparable ones. In famous poet Mir Taqi Mir's words, "Mad sehel hame jano, फिरता है फलक बरसों, तब खाक के पर्दे से इंसान निकलते हैं." Please join us for this deeply moving and special screening.
कोयल की कूकू और परियों को जैसे इन मंदिरों के बनाव सिंगार में एक साथ उतार दिया है। मैं तो देखकर ठगा सा रह गया। पूत भी बेपनाह खूबसूरत।
Fully in the power of their example. Wherever they go, whatever they do, the women continually invoke justice as righteousness and lawfulness.
While the huts are taking shape, scientists are busy in setting up their respective labs at the base camp.
Scientists have warned that melting glaciers and disturbed rainfall patterns will increase hazards such as floods, flash floods.
Who are ambitious and who are impressionable, people who are desperate, and minorities. Basically anyone who would be willing to listen and to live on hope.
Corona ni tombosi.
Na kita.
খড়গ আমার কাছে চুরি করিয়া রাখিয়াছি। প্রদান করো আমার পাশে।
That was echoing in my body, in my brain, and regained my job as somebody who was there to record whatever these people chose to do to themselves.
This is Cambodia's human hemorrhage. The road people, hungry, sick, dislocated. They crowd the roads trying to find their way home to villages.
Satya walks to work to save train fare. And because there is so much to see in Bombay's busy streets and bazaars,
Ama birbirleri için büyük bir sevgileri var. Büyük bir aşk.
पल दो पल का शायर हूँ, पल दो पल मेरी कहानी है, पल दो पल मेरी हस्ती है, पल दो पल मेरी जवानी है। मैं पल दो पल का शायर हूँ।
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for this round of applause for the legends. The journey of Mumbai International Film Festival started 34 years back.
1990 में बॉम्बे इंटरनेशनल फिल्म फेस्टिवल यानी BIFF के नाम से रखा हुआ पहला कदम आज 2024 में मिफ के रूप में एक पूरी जीवंत यात्रा है।
Let's now revisit some pivotal moments of this remarkable journey, ladies and gentlemen.
T20 film is finally receiving the recognition it richly deserves.
Logo of an eye. I look at everybody from the eyes of fact.
Just totally delighted to be here in Bombay. I find the people so very warm, and the festival is fantastic.
Enjoy the festival very much, to meet people, you know, to have the whole world here.
The important thing about documentaries and documentary festivals is that it allows a kind of interchange of people and ideas and emotions and films too, but it's the kind of co-productions that we can do with our hearts and our minds and our eyes that really makes festivals important.
Because it's an international film festival, you have films that come from different parts of the world. And that itself is good enough for people to measure their own work.
Mumbai International Film Festival has given an opportunity for all the filmmaking students to screen their films.
MIF was one festival which was like a staple diet for us who are film enthusiasts, who are film students who just finished their film school studies. This was our only hope.
We came all the way from the Faroe Islands, so I traveled for 22 hours to come here.
As a platform, we are always looking for great stories.
This year, our aim in Mumbai International Film Festival was to create an ecosphere for the documentary market.
Dear friends and esteemed guests, the 18th Mumbai International Film Festival has come a long way, and we proudly present the Highlights film, which is a captivating montage that captures what MIF 2024 has to offer.
In a world dominated by commercial blockbusters, there exists a realm of cinema that delves deeper, capturing the essence of human life, art and culture. These are the films that may not see the glittering lights of commercial theatres, but they shine brightly at the Mumbai International Film Festival. Established in 1990 as the Bombay International Film Festival, BIFF, today known as MIFF, MIF, has evolved into a dynamic platform that proudly stands as the oldest and largest film festival in South Asia dedicated to documentary, short fiction and animation films. The 18th edition of MIF, scheduled to take place from June 15th to June 21st, 2024, organized by the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting through the National Films Development Corporation of India. With films of 59 countries in 61 different languages, the festival will showcase a total of 314 films in both competition and non-competition categories, offering recognition and a total cash prize of Rs 42 lakhs. This year, MIF extends its reach beyond Mumbai with simultaneous screenings in Delhi, Kolkata, Chennai and Pune. The 18th MIF will feature several important screenings happening for the first time in India, including 8 world premieres, 5 international premieres, 18 Asia premieres and 21 Indian premieres. MIFF is more than just a film festival. It's a hub of activity and interaction. Let's witness an array of spectacular events that will redefine the essence of film festivals. Attendees will be transported on a mesmerizing journey of cinematic evolution as they witness the grandeur of the opening ceremony. International competition featuring 25 international selections will showcase the finest documentaries, short fiction and animation films from around the world competing for top honors. In the national competition, the Fest proudly presents 77 national selections across various categories, including 6 special entries for India in Amrit Kal selections. In the special segment of Best of the Fest, a package of 12 Oscar films will be screened, offering a glimpse into world-class cinema. Country-focused package from 7 countries that provide unique cultural insights will also find its place in the festival. Industry professionals will converge at the first ever Film Doc Bazaar. Networking, pitching and screenings will pave the way for powerful narratives to reach audiences worldwide. Guests will have the opportunity to glean wisdom from the industry titans in exclusive 25 masterclasses and open forum. Attendees will acquire invaluable insights into the art and craft of filmmaking. The whole industry coming together to shape the future of filmmaking and champion inclusivity in the industry. In animation and VFX workshops, aspiring animators and visual effects enthusiasts will refine their skills in workshops led by industry trailblazers. Cinephiles will delight in over 185 hours of curated films spanning genres and cultures. 18th Mumbai International Film Festival is a celebration of cinematic excellence, innovation and the unifying power of film. Immerse yourself in the world of myth, where every frame tells a story and every story matters. 18th Myth, your gateway to a world of cinematic experiences.
That was a sneak peek into the inaugural ceremony of the 18th edition of the Mumbai International Film Festival that got off to a great start today. That is the 15th of June and will conclude on the 21st of June. Let's move on now to some more news stories. Well, an exciting chapter has unfolded for foreign universities in India with the commencement of the academic session of the first international university in India. Australia's Deakin University, which has set up its branch campus at Gift City in Gujarat, will welcome the first cohort of its students in July. Here's a report.
With 2 postgraduate programs and first cohort of 60 students, Australia's Deakin University is set to commence its academic session from 3rd of July. Located in the heart of Gujarat International Finance Tech City, it is a landmark initiative depicting the collaboration of Indian and Australian governments in the education sector.
We are looking forward to having our first cohort of students in the month of July. We have received over 7,000 expressions of interest from students. We are currently offering 2 programs, one in cybersecurity and the other in business analytics. Both are master's courses. Currently, we have got faculties on board, and some of the faculties are going to be based here locally, and they're going to be full-time on campus. They will be supported by faculty flying in and out of Australia. And here we want to cater to those students who are at that level of having some experience and do not have the resources or the means or the time to go for an overseas education. In terms of the tuition fees, the programs are going to cost 50% of what they would cost in Australia.
Students are also finding this a better alternative because of its cost effectiveness, in-campus experience and vicinity to the Gift City.
Whenever a university is near to the headquarters of such big companies, it always helps in placements, corporate relations and everything. Plus the thing is, it is not just a admission office or something like that, it is a full-fledged campus for us.
I chose to stay in India and study at Deakin because I thought I wanted to be in the ecosystem of Gift City. It has a lot of benefits being here, being local. Firstly, I do want to settle in India, so that is a big advantage. And already having studied abroad, I studied in Italy for 3 years. I do recognize the quality of education that an international university can offer. I believe it's a great initiative. So a lot of students might not be able to afford education abroad, and this is a more reasonable option.
Industry and corporates have already started showing interest to rope in students for internship programs.
So we are starting to meet the requirements starting from the city, and then we are expanding to the Gujarat top industries and corporates, then aiming for the Indian top talent requirements from Bangalore, Hyderabad, Mumbai, Pune, Gurgaon, Noida, apart from few other areas, and then we are planning for globally as well.
Just a 11-month journey from inception of the idea to the opening of the university shows the swiftness and determination of the governments to strengthen collaboration in the education sector. With the entry of first foreign university to the GIFT IFSC, the stage will be set for many more institutions of global repute to open campuses in India and deliver world-class education for Indian students with reduced cost proposition and increased exposure and employment opportunities. Meghna Dev's report for DD India.
India is gearing up to face Canada in the final group stage match of the T20 World Cup 2024 in a short while from now. On Friday, the field experienced heavy rainfall with more expected overnight. If the match goes ahead, India will need to be wary of potential injuries on a challenging outfield. Our correspondent Tapas Bhattacharya reports from the ground.
In a short while from now, we will find the two teams, India and Canada, getting onto this particular Fort Lauderdale Stadium here in Florida. This is a very important match for the simple reason many of India's top batsmen are not looking in great touch. So because it's an inconsequential match, already India has qualified for the Super 8s and Canada are out of the reckoning. Indian team might give chance to their reserve players, especially the spinners, and also it will be a good time for Indian batters to take time and get into the groove, get into the good rhythm before the Super 8 starts. Now it's an overcast condition. If I can show you this particular stadium, you can just see it's a very overcast condition. There are almost 25 to 30% chances of rain, especially around 9 a.m. here. So if going by that, it might be very difficult for the teams to have a proper match here. We saw 15-20 minutes of heavy downpour yesterday. The match was called off between USA and Ireland, and that actually dashed the hopes of a Pakistan team. So if that kind of downpour again happen here, it will be very difficult to have the game ready, the game start on time. So finger crossed, everybody wants to watch this particular game. Fort Lauderdale is considered the cricket capital in US because it was the first time the stadium was cricket stadium was built here, because huge Jamaican immigration people came here, and from then onwards cricket became very popular out here. But it's the T20 World Cup's last league match here in this particular area, and people wants to come and see Indian team, their favorite players in action. So if everything goes right, then we will have a great match here, but seem unlikely because of the kind of weather condition that is prevalent in the last few days. With that was an extra. This is Tapas Bhattacharya for DD India from Florida.
The United States of America has made it to the Super 8 stage. Our correspondent Tapas Bhattacharya spoke to the vice captain Aaron Jones. The Maverick player has earlier scored an unbeaten knock of 94 from just 40 balls against Canada in the T20 World Cup 2024 tournament opener. Debutant Team USA is now looking for another upset in the Super 8 stages. Tapas Bhattacharya brings us this exclusive interview.
Joining me is US Vice Captain Aaron Jones. Jones, amazing moment for you. First time playing in the tournament and qualifying for the Super 8.
Yeah, definitely. We're really happy right now, to be honest, with the result, and we're looking forward to big and better things for sure.
Super 8 is not going to be easy. You will be going to Barbados, your hometown. Coming from there, it's going to be, people will be a little upset. You will be playing for USA and not for Barbados.
No, I don't think they'll be upset. I think I'll get a lot of support for sure. I'll be getting a lot of calls and messages and stuff, so I'll be getting a lot of support for sure. I'm looking forward to it.
How much this particular victory, in this tournament, making it to the Super 8 is for USA? That's making it their debut, and that too making it to the Super 8?
Yeah, I think it's a big thing, to be honest with you. Obviously, this being our first T20 World Cup and being it's playing home as well. And not only that, we qualify for the 2026 World Cup as well. So it's a really big thing for cricket in the country for sure.
All looking forward to the Super 8 matches. You will be playing now the big boys.
Yeah, I don't want to say big boys. I don't like to speak like that, to be honest with you. I'll just say teams that are more experienced than us. But definitely looking forward to it for sure.
Much appreciated time. So that was the vice captain of the US team, Aaron Jones, all set for the Super 8. Their match against Ireland was washed out, but they got 1 point and they have qualified for the Super 8. With Kapasa Asia Shankar, this is Tapush Bhattacharya for DD India from Florida.
Places in the galaxy are generally given interesting names, like there is a place named Shiv Shakti on the moon. But do you know that there is UP and Bihar on Mars too? If you do not know that, then let's know all about it in this special report.
It might surprise our viewers that the map of the country in front of you shows Hilsa of Bihar and Mursan of Uttar Pradesh. The interesting part is that this is located on Mars. Scientists from the Physical Research Laboratory in Ahmedabad, a city in the western state of Gujarat, have discovered this place on Mars.
आपको ये जानकर खुशी होगी कि जो मुरसान क्रेटर है वो मुरसान एक विलेज है हाथरस के पास, डिस्ट्रिक्ट अलीगढ़ के पास है, और ये मेरी जन्मभूमि है। तो मेरा जन्म जो है वो मुरसान विलेज में हुआ था। इसी प्रकार जो हिल्सा क्रेटर है उसका नाम जो हमारे साथी हैं जिन्होंने पेपर पब्लिश किया है, डॉक्टर राजीव रंजन भारती, उनके जन्म विलेज पर रखा गया है हिल्सा। तो ये बिहार में एक गांव है और ये भी एक छोटा सा गांव है जहाँ की पॉपुलेशन बहुत कम है।
The largest crater with a diameter of about 65 kilometers has been named Lal Crater in honor of Professor Devendra Lal. Professor Lal, who served as the director of PRL from 1972 to 1983, he has made significant contributions in the field of cosmic ray physics and space exploration.
डॉक्टर होमी बाबा ने जो टाटा इंस्टीट्यूट में जो शुरू किया वो कॉस्मिक रे फिजिक्स का था। अब वो मेरा जो अपना फील्ड है उससे काफी क्लोज है। ये कॉस्मिक रेज क्या है? बाह्य अवकाश से इतने बड़े वेग से, एज क्लोज टू द वेलोसिटी ऑफ लाइट, प्रकाश की गति सबसे ज्यादा होती है वैसे, तो प्रकाश की गति के नजदीक में ये एटॉमिक न्यूक्लियाई, प्रोटॉन्स और दूसरे जो पार्टिकल्स है वो आते हैं।
There is a place on Mars called Mangal Wells, which is probably a valley. The Lal crater in the Tharsis volcanic region on Mars is covered with volcanic lava. There is a geological evidence of material other than lava in this crater.
कि अगर हम मार्स पर लैंडिंग करते हैं, जैसा कि इंडियन मिशंस का अभी ऑब्जेक्टिव है कि हम लोग अभी ऑर्बिटर के बाद, जो मंगलयान हमारा ऑर्बिटर था उसके बाद लैंडर हम लोग बनाएं और मार्स पर लैंड करें, तो उसमें किस जगह पे लैंड किया जाए उसको ढूंढने के लिए और उसमें किस प्रकार के साइंस ऑब्जेक्टिव्स रखे जाएंगे, उसमें बहुत सहायता मिलेगी।
When India started its space program with very limited resources, no one thought that India would be able to send its spacecraft to the moon and Mars. Now, if any space agency in the world goes to the moon or Mars, it will definitely see India's mark and its contribution. And this is why the people of India feel proud to see the success of the country's space program. Nandini Shakuntala's report from Gujarat for DD India.
That seems like India's arrival on the Mars before the landing. Well, that's all then in this edition of DD India Live. But do share your thoughts with us on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on the DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android as well as iOS platforms. Scan the QR code on the screen to download now. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Mumbai International Film Festival from all of us here in the Delhi newsroom. Thanks for watching and goodbye.